Yes, Toyota has finally introduced hybrid technology for its mighty 300 series LandCruiser. Here I've got the top spec Sahara ZX. You can actually get the hybrid tech with the GR Sport as well. So if you're looking to do lots of off-roading, that's the option for you. From the outside, it looks pretty much identical to the regular LandCruiser. There's no telltale signs that this features hybrid technology, except around at the back, you've got the iForce Max badge, and then as part of the regulations, the EV symbol on the number plate. But aside from that, this is exactly the same as the regular Sahara ZX. That includes these 20-inch sort of shadow chrome alloy wheels. They're wrapped in 265/55 Bridgestone Jeweler all-terrain tyres. So they are all-terrains, even though the profile there is a little bit lower compared with other, lower spec Land Cruiser models. Again, if you're planning regular, pretty serious off-roading, this is probably not the pack that you go for. This is more for, touring around the country, towing even, in full luxury and comfort. And speaking of which, the interior of this has got everything. It's got all the bells and whistles, TVs in the back, massive amount of legroom, full climate controls, seat heating and cooling. Interestingly, the hybrid is only available in 5-seat configuration, and the boot floor is a little bit higher than the standard models with the 5-seat configuration as well, because of the electronics and so on. But you've got a fair bit of space here. You've got little tie points as well. 220 volt 1500 watt socket on the back, Australian outlet plug, some cup holders that you're not going to use, but you could put little bits of shopping in there to stop them rolling around. I've used them for wine bottles before, so if you don't want your wine bottles floating about everywhere, sorry about the light, you can just pop them in those cup holders in the back. But yeah, it does mean you're missing out on the full 7-seat capacity of the regular 300 series. And up front, more luxury, high-end feel and look about it, like you've got contrast stitching all across the dashboard. Even the door trims here, very soft leather with some wood grain style of trim as well. Not too much in the way of scratchy plastics, although it is a little bit monotone in here, apart from the metallic trimmings down the dash fascia. Lots of physical controls here. Look at all those buttons you can play around with. The drive mode toggle as well. We're in low range at the moment. Center diff lock. This doesn't come with the rear diff lock or anything like that, like some of the other spec variants. Again, this is designed for touring and just eating up the miles effortlessly. You can still definitely take it off-road. It's very good off-road. We've got a little course we can go on today, but it's not really about serious off-roading, but just to showcase what this technology is like. Speaking of which, under the bonnet you've got a 3.4 litre twin turbo V6 connected up to an electric motor system sandwiched basically between the transmission and engine, combining to produce 341 kilowatts and 790 newton meters. That makes it the most powerful Land Cruiser ever sold in Australia. It features the same four-wheel drive running gear, so you've got the same low range. It all is it's non-interfering hybrid technology. The electric motor simply assists the petrol V6, so you get all of the running gear of the regular Land Cruiser 300 series lineup. It should go pretty good. We'll do a quick 0 to 100 test later on. For this video, I'm here as part of a wider Toyota launch event. We've just got limited time with this vehicle. But yeah, we'll hit the road first, see what it's like, and then I'll just do a little off-road stint just coming up to the top of this hill. I'll book one in later on as well to try and do a full test, including with the GR Sport, and we'll take on the hill climb and so on to see how it really handles in off-road conditions. All right, out on the road. So obviously, being the most powerful Land Cruiser currently on sale, 341 kilowatts, it's a beast of a thing. It's obviously not a sports car. It's never intending to be a sports car. It is still a fundamental 300 series underneath. So you've got all the low range and all the off-road gear. But how does it go on a winding road or country road out in the open? Yes, there's a little bit of sort of initial body lean happening, as you'd expect. There's no change there compared with the regular diesel Land Cruiser. Decent response. I mean, the 3.4 twin turbo V6 petrol engine is a nice unit by itself, in my opinion. So just having the electric motor assisting integrated into the sort of between the gearbox and the engine, it's just, providing that, it's almost like an anti-lag, you could think of it, whereas it just provides that boost to help the engine spin along. Still runs through the same transmission and drive line. It sounds all right. I mean, I would like to hear what this engine sounds from a tuner's perspective, like with a nice exhaust or something like that. because I think there would be a pretty exotic soundtrack in there. 3.4, pretty big capacity for a V6, then twin turbo. I think it could sound quite nice, but as it is in factory form, you want it to be, you know, quite refined. Yeah, it's got like a nice roaring, slightly vibration-y feel to, or sound to it, but definitely got that sort of angry tone. And I guess it's nicer than the diesel anyway, because the diesel is always going to be a little bit rougher than a petrol engine. So in that sense, it does support, you know, touring and road trips and so on with a bit more comfort. According to the dash, we're averaging 14.1. That's during test conditions, so we're jumping in and out of vehicles. There's some other journos probably giving it a bit of a thrash as well, but yeah, 14.1 in the real world I don't think is too bad for a big heavy SUV like this. The diesel I've achieved roughly around 10 or 11 if you're lucky, if you're, you know, just cruising along, whereas once you start getting into the suburbs and so on, it bumps up a bit higher than that. I think this you could expect a lower figure than this in the real world, especially if you're spending a bit of time in the suburbs compared with the diesel, because the electric motor gets a chance to provide its boost, but also the battery can recharge as well. So on the highway, it's not really getting a chance to recharge as much. So I think if you're spending a lot of time in the suburbs, basically, I think this would be more fuel efficient. Officially, this is a bit higher than the diesel. It's about 9 point something for the diesel, and this is 10 officially. So yeah, officially it's slightly high, but I think in the suburbs you'd get a slightly lower figure in the real world compared with the diesel. In saying that, if you're doing a lot of road trips out on the highway, the diesel is probably going to be a slightly lower figure. But with this, you're getting more performance, slightly better sound, and a bit better refinement. On a winding road like this, you might want to flick it over into the Sport Plus mode. This does have adaptive suspension, so we're going to get a different feel. Let's see if it's, well, you definitely got better powertrain response. It's really picking up and going with little throttle movement. It feels, yeah, definitely more aggressive, and it does, the body does remain a bit flatter. There's a little bit less of that initial lean when you first tip it in, which is good. It means it's versatile. You can take it on a road trip, and if you encounter a winding road like this, flick it into Sport or Sport Plus mode. Not that you want to do sporty driving, but it just helps maintain body control. It's going to be a little bit more comfortable for the passengers. As with the regular LandCruiser 300 series, you've got a very perched up and commanding view. Got a nice big gap between the mirror and the pillar there, so I can see there's no blind spot really. Even the pillar is quite thin, and out the back you've got nice big windows, so it's easy to see around you. I mean, it is a big vehicle, so you've just got to be wary of that. It's about 5 meters long and about 2 meters wide, so when you're parking and so on, you've just got to take care. You do have a full surround view camera to help you out. It's about as practical as a big vehicle like this can be, I guess. Just give it the beans from here. Yeah, it picks up speed nicely. That's 100. No problem at all getting up to highway speed. In terms of 0 to 100, let's do a quick test. I've got it in Sport S Plus mode. I've got the V-Box connected up here. That is 100. 6.23 seconds, so quite quick. Definitely the quickest LandCruiser 300 series currently on sale. The best thing about this is it's a no compromise hybrid system, so you're getting the same driveline basically as the diesel LandCruiser, just with the electric assistance. So at the moment I've got it in the low range. This is not a hardcore climb or anything, but it's just giving you an example of how it behaves. Having that low range means I can slow right down. You've got the multi-terrain select system you can play around with, the crawl mode as well. This Sahara ZX is probably not the best choice if you are looking to do serious off-roading regularly, because it does have the sort of lower hanging body kit or body bumper bars and all that sort of thing hanging down. It's also got the shiny rims. Don't want to get them all damaged up, but even so, it's still a LandCruiser. It's a tank basically, so you can just barge through or pull through over anything. just here, it's quite steep, it's a bit sort of rutted out, but it's no challenge at all for the LandCruiser. So obviously, yeah, if you're going to do some off-roading or fairly serious off-roading regularly, you've got the GR Sport, and that you get front and rear diff locks, better suited tyres and sort of smaller rims, taller profile tyres as well. So yeah, much more suitable for serious off-road touring and adventures.